Hello and welcome to our third video in troubleshooting DS ControlPoint. In today's video, we're going to deal with sync configuration on DS ControlPoint. Now, what is sync? Sync allows DS ControlPoint to set its configuration file to a fixed location, so that way we don't have to constantly enter new connection details for all users that will be using this PC or that has access to the same network share. So let's jump right in. In our last video, we were working with bandwidth settings. Let's hop over to the sync tab and take a look at the sync settings. Okay, so here on the sync tab, let's talk about the first option there. Now, we're going to see we have an import settings and an export settings. Import means that we're going to actually pull in the settings file. Export means the settings file we've created here, we want to export it so we can copy it somewhere else, maybe put it in a new network location. Then we have auto sync. We have several options for that. It can auto sync on startup, hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly. This just says how many times ControlPoint will go out, look for that new file, and import those settings. Then we have the auto sync location. What this does, this is the central location from where the ControlPoint client will look for that file. Now, because this is a troubleshooting video, you might be asking yourself, why are we looking at these configuration settings? Well, that's because one of our popular calls we have here is that we've gone into DS ControlPoint, deleted a system, yet when we restart it, the system is back. Another way this can present itself is that we deleted a system, added a system, and it works just fine. But as soon as ControlPoint is closed and then reopen, the system is deleted and the old system is back. This is because of sync settings. So in that scenario, what's happening is it's getting to that auto sync time we've set. So either it's on startup or it's been a day and it's set to sync daily, so now it's resynced and your old settings are gone. That's why we always want to check this when we notice systems are either not staying in DS ControlPoint or are being deleted from DS ControlPoint. So on this same subject, the next thing we have seen that's caused some concern is that we'll set this up, a user will log in, and they will not pull the new settings file into their system. This is because the user needs access to the share location. So let's say it's a new user who just joined the organization. Perhaps IT hasn't had time to add them as a permission to that folder, or they're not a member of a group who has permission for that folder. This will prevent them from being able to sync. Now, setting that up is outside the scope of this video, so I would recommend talking to the on-site IT personnel to have that user added to the folder permissions. So we've talked about it a little bit, but let's take a look at the options under auto sync. So that way we can see what it looks like when we click on it. So moving on to our next option, which is import systems. Now for some of our sites that actually have DS admin installed for remote management, this option will import the systems from DS admin into DS ControlPoint. This does not happen automatically and does require user intervention. Now moving down the screen, the next one that can cause this is going to be Save Global. Now here's the difference with this one. Save Global and Load Global apply to the PC itself. What it means is if you click Save Global, once you've configured a system, it will create a global save file that any user on this PC can use. So the next time DS ControlPoint has to be set up, it can simply be installed, go into setup and then sync and click load global. So the last option on this page we're going to look at is going to be import settings. Now this one won't actually cause the reappearing issue. This is the classic, we have a USB drive, we have a removable hard drive, we have a specific point on the PC where we save settings. Here we just simply click import settings, select the file, and that will load in the settings. This is a one-time only procedure, so we can see this maybe if IT periodically comes around and updates the settings manually, then a user could log in and notice that their systems have disappeared. Now let's move into the last subject for this troubleshooting video. It's going to be time. A very common question that we get on the phone is when searching for time in DS ControlPoint, it's not matching the video that's being pulled up on the recorder. The reason for that is time zones. What happens is the time on the PC is actually correct. However, the time zone on the PC is incorrect, whereas the time zone and time on the server is correct. When searching for video, DS ControlPoint does take into account the local time when set to local. This includes the time zone offset. However, if we want to ignore that, we would set it to recorder local time. This means DS ControlPoint will look at the recorder you're connecting to and search for the time according to that server. Lastly will be GMT, which is a universal standard. So these three options here will allow us to search for time correctly. On this note, I will say it is important to make sure that the time zone and time on the recorder is set properly, as well as the client. Any offsets can cause problems with recording video, pulling up video for playback, and exporting video in case of an incident. As always, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. And remember, at Pelco, we've got it all covered.